quite ready to do any sort of influencer marketing. And I hate that response, but I also love it because I'm like, let me prove to you that this actually works. You know, if you're just throwing a bunch of money into an agency and they're like, okay, well, we're just going to send out your product and pay these influencers, but there's no actual strategy behind it. They don't understand, where your ideal.
Yo, what is up? This is Christian D. Evans, host of Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. And I just want to share with you real quick, thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. It really means a lot to us, but also our community. And, if you like this, please share this with your friend, your family, a colleague, someone that you don't even like. Definitely share that with them. And then also leave a comment and a review for us. We really do appreciate that. And show our guests some love if you find that this episode really resonates with you. Secondly, also want to share with you some really awesome news. I've had the fortunate opportunity to network and have incredible guests, 8 and 9 figure entrepreneurs, CEOs, and founders on our podcast. And what we've done is we've actually been able to open up a Be Uncommon If You Can Mastermind, where we're able to open up the door for so many of you, right? Those that are 6-figure, 7-figure entrepreneurs that are scaling, that are struggling, that really want to level up their game, their business, their life, whatever it is. I'm able to open up that door for you with this Be Uncommon If You Can Mastermind. Now, we're only taking a select few of individuals. So what you'll need to do is go to christiandeevans.com/mastermind now. And the link is actually in the description as well. Guys, that is christiandeevans.com/mastermind now. We're only opening this up for a select few of individuals that really want to level up their game. You have a conversation with me, see if you qualify. And guys, enjoy the episode. And remember, be uncommon if you can. Cheers. Thank you so much for tuning in to Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. I'm your host, Christian D. Evans. And guys, we have someone on because the reason why I want to have her on was because the influencer marketing industry is massive. And I honestly believe that it's very undervalued, under leveraged, honestly, to even the highest level. It is a $68 billion, almost an $80 billion industry. And it's just so bizarre because, you think about 10 years ago, this was not even in existence. And now it is just a prevalent industry. And if you're not leveraging it to the highest level, then obviously you are missing out. And now we're talking about obviously TikTok, we're talking about Instagram, we're talking about YouTube, we're talking about all these different platforms. And the reality is that if you don't see it, you obviously see it. It's there. But the biggest thing is, how do you actually create an effective campaign that produces the biggest results? And obviously, we have an expert on this time. So we're going to talk about here. She is the Social Lens Media CEO and founder. She is a dynamic change agent, professional marketer, entrepreneur with a history of working with hundreds of brands as an influencer and influencer relations marketing manager. She has worked with top amazing brands like Tesla, FYNCR, Spider Tech Tape, Shop to Save, Top Glow, Reveals Athletic, and so many more. Please welcome my friend, Chanelle Garrow. How are you doing today, Chanelle?
I'm good. Thank you. That was an awesome introduction.
Well, I'm excited because obviously, like I was saying, it's a huge industry, and honestly, it's just very under leveraged. A lot of people are not leveraged at that highest level. Now, before we jump in, though, I would like to ask real quick, how do you really effectively create the most effective campaign to produce the biggest result?
So that one's actually a bit of a tricky question because it really depends on what you're looking for. So a lot of the campaigns that we run for a lot of our clients, again, it depends. Are you looking for that viral content? Are you looking for the brand awareness? Are you looking for conversion? So there isn't a kind of like one fit all strategy in creating a successful campaign because it depends on what you consider successful. So I'll kind of go into the different types of campaigns that we've actually run. We've done ones for brand awareness. We kind of double dipped into everything really. So we got them going viral on TikTok. We had an amazing organic growth, over 5,000 people in less than 3 weeks. We had them picked up on media outlets, completely organic. And really created this community around them. And actually what we decided to do is, before, it is a retail store, before we decided to do anything, we actually had an influencer, I guess, kind of like event. Yes, we had an influencer event. So because this is a big physical store, we had a bunch of influencers from the GTA come into the store and showcase all the items that they could find. How are they going to style it? and showcasing that with their audience to create this buzz. So of course we don't want to stop there. That's when we kind of go into our social media marketing and we maintain that buzz. So we then dipped into TikTok, and then we dipped into Instagram to really build on that brand awareness that we are already creating. Since then, this is such a new company. It's opened up 3 weeks ago, maybe 3.5 weeks ago now. And they have just completely taken over. If you haven't heard of them already, you will soon. Their name is Shmata, and they are a pay by the pound retail store. So we have just built this absolutely insane community. Their store has been flooded with people. And I think that is a good example of utilizing influencers, social media marketing, and building that community to build a successful campaign. So that one kind of dips into everything. Again, that's not a one size fits all type of strategy. Although I do recommend that with anything that you do, no matter how big, how small, you kind of utilize all of those different pillars to create this brand awareness, conversions, community. And that's about that.
That's awesome. Well, I guess that was a very broad question, but I appreciate you kind of getting a little bit like more detailed oriented, because you're exactly right. It really determines, of course, what is the result, what is their goal, and obviously acquiring, because that different strategy would be tremendously different. Now, let me ask you this, because a lot of our listeners, okay, they have maybe used influencers at some point, but at a very small level, right? Majority of their spend is either through networking, referrals, or ad spend, right? I spend a majority of my millions of dollars in paid ads. I never really dealt with the influencer world. So when you're kind of diving into this, okay, you got a product, it's already developed, it's already offered, you already got a sales process in place, okay? So everything is working. We know it's a proven offer, right? The offer is working. Now, my question to you is, how can you put fuel on the fire leveraging influencer marketing? And let's say, for example, the result is to push that product. It's not brand, it's to sell that product. That would be the goal. What would that look like?
So I think that really depends on the size of the company. If you have someone that is a company that's already built that community, then you would want to work with bigger influencers, the nano influencers, the micro influencers, and keep that extremely consistent. When it comes to, sorry, there's sirens in the back, so I'm getting a little distracted here. So when it comes to those purchasing habits, people are less likely to purchase something if they haven't seen it at least 5 times. So if you have an influencer, and everything that you know about influencer marketing before, where it's, I'm just going to send you a product and you're going to post about it and all these people are going to flood in and purchase the product. It doesn't work that way. Now it's a bit more authentic. And I think this kind of goes with every campaign as well. So you want to make sure that you're seeding the products, you're gaining those testimonials, you're looking for people that are actually see the bigger vision or see the bigger picture and actually really, really love your brand and want to be associated with your brand. And only then, that's when their audience is going to start purchasing, because that influencer is someone that they trust and they are now putting their trust into this brand and relaying that message to you. So it's a bit difficult to kind of go into the strategies of conversions or brand awareness, because again, it depends on the size of the influencer, how long they're working with you, the size of the brand, how new are they, what are their reviews online. There's so much to it, not to discredit anything or discourage anyone from going into influencer marketing, but there is a lot more nowadays because everyone is relying on social media.
Yeah, because see, one of the things I want to share is because I do know that's an $80 billion, like $60, $80 billion industry. And like you were saying, even with the micro influencers, my question really is like, when you're deploying the marketing strategy, to me, just like with like any restaurant biz, with any proof of concept, you really want to do it with a beta test first. You don't want to spend like $10,000 and then just start working with these high, and then you just ruin those relationships or ruin that audience or ruin that kind of that opportunity, right? So I always feel like a beta test would be the most wise decision. However, though, you've been in the industry a little longer than I have. If there is a beta test, what would that look like? How would you, maybe just work with, let's say we're working with $1 million company, maybe 5 or 6 influencers. What does that look like? And then obviously the larger, huge, push out of that specific product or offer.
So with beta testing with influencers, what we like to do is we like to test out what sticks, what kind of hooks, what kind of call to actions are going to stick with a certain type of niche, a certain type of audience. And that can be on a lower scale. And what I love about TikTok actually is it is very cost effective for testing out what works and what doesn't work. You can have someone who has 5,000 followers and they're going to charge you. They're not even going to charge you. They're just going to ask for the products. They'll gladly take on or create a TikTok for you. And if we have our, call to actions and we work with the influencer to say, okay, what is your current audience? How can we relate this product to your current audience? And then also to your current feed to make this look like it's not actually a paid advertising. And with that, we can see, again, I keep kind of repeating myself, what sticks and what doesn't stick. So while we're in that beta testing is this hook going to stick? Is this going to go viral if we use this? What is our call to action if it does go viral? There's so many moving pieces with that.
Well, what's interesting, just like you were saying, Chanelle, is that it's very data driven. And it's okay to say, okay, we're going to deploy a strategy, and maybe that's not the most effective hook, maybe that whatever. It's not like influencers doesn't work. It's just a matter of, okay, how can I get this to work? Because it's just like you said, it's just, okay, it is a path, it is an acquisition channel, but how to properly bring it. Now, let me ask you this, because obviously traffic is tremendously different. I know from Facebook ads to YouTube ads, those are different traffic sources. Definitely TikTok and Instagram. Social media is tremendously different. So, and again, like you were saying, it's building context. So it's dependent upon obviously that person, who's attracted to that traffic, what is their personality type, what is their brand, what does that look like? So I guess my question is what are certain metrics that you should be following or kind of really measuring that really say, okay, this was a successful campaign, this was not, this sucked, hey, how can we do better?
So I feel like I'm being very vague with a lot of my answers, but there's so much information that goes into it to, again, determine your metrics, the success rate and stuff like that. So in my eyes and my clients' eyes that we work with, successful campaign and metrics that we would track are your shares. What are the comments? What are they commenting? The likes, but mainly the shares. So clearly this is content that people are enjoying and they're going to share with their friends because they see some sort of value there. So I'm talking in relation to TikTok or Instagram because our main focus right now, because we do deal with mainly social media with influencers, obviously, video content is huge right now. The algorithm with it, you can reach beyond your current audience. And so these are the three metrics that we're really, really, really focusing on, is those shares. Saves, sometimes. It depends with saves. I think saves, because we can't tap into who's actually saving this content, we can't get a better understanding of who this client is, who this potential buyer is. Are they someone that is in a sporting niche, but this is a fashion niche? Like, we can't get enough information from that. So sharing that product or sharing that content and creating that viral content. And then also the comments, we're able to see what people are saying. Are they actually going and purchasing? Are they asking where to purchase? Are they asking for more reviews? Stuff like that would definitely deem a successful campaign. And those are the metrics that we'd be determining for that.
Gotcha. So let me ask you, so let's say, for example, one of our listeners are thinking about, deploying an influencer strategy, right? Influencer marketing strategy, which of course I highly recommend. Now, what if, for example, they deploy that, they have certain metrics, and like you said, it's really dependent upon each business structure and things like that, obviously marketing. But what have you found is right now the most effective? Instagram, I know, is pretty tough right now because it's still prevalent, it's still very effective, but compared to others that are more like obviously organic. I even know LinkedIn right now has a very organic reach right now. So I'm just curious, what have you noticed just being on the forefronts of it, and regarding kind of each media and traffic source?
So for Instagram, I noticed that the reach isn't always there. I find that Instagram is more of a gamble than, TikTok. I love YouTube because no matter what, if you see within a week that there's only, let's say, 1,000 views, who's to say in 6 months that won't blow up to 100,000 views? And that is a lifetime ad. So when people are searching you on Google, that's going to be there, that review. With TikTok, it's very cost effective. So you can have someone who has 1 million followers, they'll charge you somewhere around 2,000. I've also seen 20,000, but it's very unlikely for TikTok. But with Instagram, if you have someone who has 20,000 followers, they're going to be charging you around $1,000 just to create that reel. So it's not as cost effective on Instagram, and I would focus primarily on TikTok right now. And then YouTube, of course, for those lifetime ads. I also really, really enjoy Pinterest. That's something that we've been focusing on quite a bit, just with our clients. I believe, and don't quote me on this, 70% of users on Pinterest go on Pinterest because they're looking to make a purchase. So incorporating blog reviews and, little snippets of, I'm going to use one of my clients for an example. They do pregnancy tape, and that is a huge keyword on Pinterest, or really anywhere for new moms. Like, these are your must have for new moms. People that are looking on Pinterest are looking for those things as a mother or as a consumer that are going to make their lives easier, and they will most likely purchase. Again, 70% of people or users on Pinterest are looking to purchase something. So I think that's something that's really, really overlooked. So Instagram, we haven't completely gotten rid of it in our strategy. I think it's really great for really niched audiences. Like, if you're really looking to tap into something that, you're looking for an exact niche, an exact target audience, Instagram allows you to really tap into the interests of an influencer's audience, so we can target those a bit better. So in terms of metrics and who we're trying to target, Instagram is better for that. But in terms of viral content, TikTok is better. And in terms of conversions, if you have any sort of blog or even just popular on Pinterest, Pinterest is great for that as well. And then, of course, YouTube. I don't think YouTube should ever be excluded from a campaign.
Wow, that's actually really cool insight. So TikTok, because a lot of people have that preconceived notion, right, of what TikTok is. However, the people are becoming more adapt to it. I actually started creating a business page around that because I'm realizing that is very prevalent right now. Larger brands are doing it, so we're obviously seeing that huge trajectory. My question now is, like, what are there's tons of different software. Obviously, your agency and so forth, you have the insight because that's kind of what the power of what you got going on. But let's say, for example, there's different software to basically bring all these influencers together. When they're kind of filtering themselves, or maybe they have an affiliate manager or an influencer manager that is working with these partners, what are certain red flags that they should be aware of with when they're working with these influencers? Obviously, from the price to the engagement to what they should be looking at to see, okay, this ad account or this account is the most effective for our strategy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry, let me get some clarity on that question. So you're looking for what is a red flag? So if I were a brand, what is a red flag if I were to hire on influencers?
Yeah, correct. So like certain things like, okay, hey, this person has 100,000 followers on TikTok. What should be the average price range we should look at? Is, not because maybe it's our first time, maybe it's our second time, whatever it may be, just making sure that, first of all, and then as well as, like, obviously, like you said, the data, it has to be reliant on your own strategy a little bit, but and regarding kind of creating the marketing strategy for that audience. But my question is really just red flags, certain things that they should be aware of that, hey, you've seen in the industry. Hey, make sure, because a lot of people can definitely on Instagram, they can buy users, likes, all that stuff. I would imagine probably very similar to TikTok now because they probably figured out their algorithm. So I was just curious on that. What are certain red flags that they should be aware of?
Absolutely. So with Instagram, it's easier to target, who's a fake follower, who's a mass follower, who's a bot. That's easy to determine based on their engagement rate. So there is software out there that will be able to tell you who's a mass follower. And a mass follower is someone who follows more than 1,500 people. So the likelihood of, your content being seen by this person who's following more than 1,500 people is very unlikely. So your reachability is going to be lower. Your engagement rate, if you have 20,000 followers and your engagement rate is below 2%, that is a bit of a red flag. You want to avoid people that have under 2% engagement rates. Now, I know with anyone who has a million plus, you're probably looking around a 1%. I really, really, really wouldn't go under 1% if you are trying to acquire an influencer that has a million plus. And that's just from my own experience. When it comes to paying an influencer, everyone has their own set rates. There isn't kind of, okay, if you have 20,000 followers, this should be your rate. If you have 30, etc. There isn't an established kind of like tier for that. So it's really based on how much time is going into this. What are the exclusivity rates? What are, how long is this content going to be on my feed for? There's a lot of different factors. So with that, you want to be able to work with your influencers. So this is my budget as a brand. This is my budget. Is it something that you can work in? This is what we're looking for. And then for me, when I'm negotiating any sort of rate, I look at what is my CPE, my click per engagement, or my click per view. I want to stay somewhere between 18 cents and lower. So if I have a influencer that's charging me X amount of money and my CPE is going to be $11, then we're going to have to negotiate that way down, unless there is some sort of exclusivity or they're going to be repurposing that content. So in terms of red flags, I have worked with influencers that take a week to reply. And for me, that is a bit of a red flag, but not something that I would overlook. Communication is huge. You want to have a relationship with the influencers. And then if the influencers are just looking at you as a form of income and not establishing that relationship, not really understanding what your brand is, you want to avoid them, because that's going to be very transparent in their content. So I think that is my major red flag. And then also, there has been some controversy with influencers that have requested payment upfront. I've done this numerous times. I think that is not a red flag, but I know from a lot of other people that might be a red flag. But a lot of influencers have been burned, just like brands have. And I think negotiating a 25% upfront rate will pay you this 25. When you complete this, then we'll pay you the remaining 75. And if you don't, then you're required to pay back what we gave you, and you can contract that in. So red flags, of course, is their engagement rate. If they're not open to communication, they don't really, you're just not getting that sense that they want to establish a long-term partnership with you. That is a red flag, and it can be a waste of money. Payment upfront, I don't think is a red flag, but something that you should definitely be cautious of. So if you have an influencer that is requesting this payment upfront, what was your previous conversations? Did you get on a phone call with them? Is it strictly through email? What is the reply rate? Or how fast are they replying to you? What are they saying? Is it extremely dry? I think that you'll be able to kind of get some sort of indication that they're just not interested, and this could, really, I guess, screw up your timeline if they're just not replying to you. So those are my major red flags: communication, engagement rate.
Definitely. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Actually, I love that insight, because that is huge. Because I think one of the best ways to really, everybody loves to get into it, and then they get scammed, and then they leave, and then they never do it again, right? That fear, right? And the biggest thing is just being aware of the game, right? You have to be aware of it. I think that's very, very wise. Now, the thing is, what I'm always very interested is, obviously you're on the forefront of where it's going. Nobody ever thought, we all knew that there was going to be another social media, marketing, company out there that just produces. And now Twitter was just acquired by Elon Musk. That may just take off again. Their ad platform may get a little bit better. I'm not sure where all this goes. Well, my question is Chanelle, where do you see influencer marketing in the future? Do you feel like that's going to overtake even ad spend and paid acquisition? Or because obviously privacy policies are getting more tight, Facebook, iOS, all that stuff. So I just love to kind of get your vision of that.
I don't think influencer marketing is going anywhere. I think we definitely saw a massive influx with influencer marketing because everyone was kind of scattering. Brick and mortar was very wasn't reliable with the pandemic. So a lot of people are relying on their social media presence. And I mean, I might be like biting myself in the butt here because this is my whole industry, but I think with, platforms like TikTok again, and I keep bringing that up because it's the hottest social media app at this moment, but everyone's an influencer now. And the problem that I kind of see with that is there's a lot of content that's going out there that's kind of training influencers that they should be charging $10,000 for one post and they have 5,000 followers. I think there's a lot of misinformation there. And as much as a brand needs an influencer, influencers also need the brand. So it can't have this divide. And I've been seeing quite a bit of divide there. And that can't happen, especially with platforms like TikTok, where everyone is becoming an influencer. Again, I don't think it's going anywhere, but I think that there needs to be a better synergy with brands and influencers. It can't be one-sided. So I think it's going to absolutely boom. I think, I don't think that the rates that people are charging right now, because it isn't such a necessity at this moment that you can charge those like surcharges, I guess you can say. I think in the future, it will kind of level its playing ground and we will come up with some sort of reasonable pricing and synergy again between brands and influencers that can work together in long-term collaborations. I think now brands working with individuals, one-off posting isn't going to really exist because we've seen, or at least I've seen, it's not effective. You want to work with influencers that are trusted by their audience, that are trusted by the brand, and that can become that face of the brand and that ambassador for the brand. That's where I kind of see influencer marketing going in the next couple of years, or at least I hope.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let me ask you, because see, I think to me personally, what I always found very interesting about influencer marketing in general, is that a lot of companies come in very blindsided. They don't know exactly how funnels work. They don't understand exactly what the best call to action is. And I realized just from experience that it has to be very, very tailored directly to that influencer, right? So sometimes some people think, hey, if I just throw money at it and then just throw a little piece of content at it, it's going to create this huge massive. No, it's so strategic. Like you said, there's hooks. What kind of content? Make sure the flow, the personality, the content, whatever it is, flows with that influencer, and then as well as the call to action. Now a lot of the business owners that we work with, they're not multi-billion-dollar companies where they can withstand a loss for a period of time before they make profit on the back end, right, to acquire a customer. A lot of times their sales cycle is, 30 days, right, in order to acquire that customer and making sure that they're upfronting that ad spend or whatever. So my question is in thinking in that context, what is the best call to action to get people to come to a landing page, the offer, whatever it is, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's high ticket, what does that look like?
It's a good question. I think that's a very broad question, but I will try to answer that to the best of my ability. Affiliate programs are amazing. And I'm gonna kind of start from ground zero because I actually started my business, Social Lens Media, in the midst of the pandemic because I saw what it was doing to brands and I really wanted to be able to help brands. So where my specialty is kind of like starting from ground zero and really building that brand up. So starting off as a new brand and you don't have a massive budget, I think that's where you really, really need to focus on your community aspect. Sending out your products to as many people as you possibly can, asking for their reviews. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What is your honest review? Don't post like if you hate it on Instagram, but if you love it, we'd love for you to share it. And if they're sharing it, why don't we give you some kickback? I'm going to set you up with an affiliate program so you can actually earn commission. And then that is where you're kind of building that relationship. You're starting from, this is just a review. I want you to try this. I would love to get your opinion. And if you do love it, then let's set you up with an affiliate program. If you don't love it, we love your feedback. Thank you. We'll try to make this, more suited for someone like yourself. And once you have those affiliate programs, these influencers, I personally, as an influencer, I love affiliate programs. I will get on every single affiliate program as long as I love the brand, because if I love the brand, absolutely, I want to help you out. And I'm getting kickback. That's amazing. And then it's a win-win situation because now the brand's making money, I'm making money. And the more that the brand wins, the more that I win because I know that they're going to come back to me and say, we have a paid collaboration. We want you because you have been the face of our company. And we know you've built that trust with our brand. So this is something that I like to do starting from ground zero with, brands that are trying to get into influencer marketing. There's a lot of moving pieces. I think throwing money into influencer marketing when you don't have that budget to lose is very, very risky and not something that you should do. I think start off with those reviews, build that community, see people that are really into your brand, that love your brand, that see that bigger picture, and those people will show you exactly like what you want to see, and then you build on that. So I think I answered that question. I kind of pivoted all over the place. Sorry.
No, that's perfect. Because kind of let's go back because you're exactly right, Chanelle. Kind of tell me a little bit about your story. What was the driving force, and what's your experience? Because you were influencer manager for many years, and that's one of the reasons why you built Social Lens Media, the company that you have now. What was the massive pain that you saw, the problem, and the solution that you produced?
Oh, okay. Well, if we're talking from a business aspect, are we talking from a business aspect or the problem that we saw with I guess they kind of tie in together. Okay. Well, a big problem that I saw in influencer marketing, from a business aspect, and I get this all the time, is we've been burned by influencers before. We've been burned by influencer marketing agencies before. We're not quite ready to do any sort of influencer marketing. And I hate that response, but I also love it because I'm like, let me prove to you that this actually works. If you're just throwing a bunch of money into an agency and they're like, okay, well, we're just going to send out your product and pay these influencers, but there's no actual strategy behind it. They don't understand, where your ideal customers live. What are these influencers saying? What are they doing? What are their hooks? What is their relation with their audience? I think yes, absolutely, you're going to get burned. If you have no long-term goal and you're just expecting to, throw money into an influencer campaign and be like, well, that was it. That's great. Absolutely, you'll get burned. And yeah, again, like there's a lot of moving pieces. I have had clients before that were a brand new brand. They had 60, 60 followers on Instagram. And their goal was to have this like massive influx of conversions. And they had a very high ticket item. And I took them on and I walked them through. I said, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to build that community. We need to build that trust, and we need to revamp your social media to actually nurture the people that these influencers are bringing in. And a lot of people aren't really patient with that process because it can be it can cost a lot of money to do that. But if you're looking at the long-term success of an influencer campaign and all of your marketing and really nurturing that community, it will bring you an abundance amount of money.
Yeah, and I think I love that concept because the influencer marketing industry, a lot of people have experienced it. A lot of business owners have tried it and they just didn't do it properly. And it's the same thing with, to me, I look at anything as like a tool, right? Whether you use it effectively or not, it's not really dependent upon the tool. It's dependent upon what you're putting in is getting that output, right? And so if you're putting in crap, then you're obviously getting output crap, right? And so it's just a matter of coming back to the drawing board and reassessing and going back on it, because influencer marketing, it's never going away, and it's if anything, it's becoming even more prevalent, definitely with today's society. So
And it's
let's
changing every single day. And that's another thing is if you're hiring on someone who's stuck in this old mentality of a strategy, TikTok, the strategies that I had 3 months ago are not the same strategies that I have today. And you have to be able to upkeep on that. And I'm grateful that I was able to, build my own audience and understand how it is as an influencer, but also as an influencer manager and someone who lives and breathes all things social media. I am seeing those changes and those frequent changes, especially with consumer buyer habits. So yeah, being on top of that is major key.
Well, let's talk about that consumer buyer habits. What are you seeing right now in the industry? Because you did mention something that I am very familiar with. You know, in order for someone to buy something, they have to see about 4 or 5 times. It's the same
Mhm.
concept like know, like, and trust. You're right. They really, it's about 7 times before they get comfortable with you, and then they purchase whatever you're selling. So let's kind of talk about that. What are you seeing right now in the industry?
So right now, my main focus again has been on TikTok. So my main focus is really understanding what are the buying habits on that platform specifically. I think Instagram hasn't really changed significantly. I mean, well, it depends what timeline you're looking at, but in terms of Instagram, you really need to establish that relationship. That is extremely, extremely important on Instagram. If you're going to post like, this is my water bottle, you have to buy it. It's amazing. People aren't going to buy it. It looks extremely inauthentic. But on TikTok, what I've been seeing and what really, really works is that commentary. When you're feeling the product, you're testing the product, you're talking about the product. What are your honest reviews? What does it look like on you? What is the comparison to another product that people know and really, really love? That is what I'm seeing. It has been creating that viral content and also driving significant, significant sales. So one of my clients, we have been focusing actually just on TikTok. And our call to action with that is, it's for a pregnancy tape. So it will be, talking about I'm this far along and I've been using this to help with pressure. Like these are big keywords for, someone who's pregnant. They'll go into trying on the product and, talking about the just everything, the fabric, the material, what they're using, what it does, how to apply it, how to take it off, how long did they wear it. And that content, we have gained over 20 million views with the influencers that we worked with. And we're not working with a lot of influencers. I think we had 2 influencers that gained 10,000 or 10 million views just on their own. And that's kind of the strategy that we've been working with. And since doing that strategy and working again with the influencers to create that, they were actually able to branch off into their own entirely different single product, I guess you can say, because they were a part of a bigger company, and then they saw such a need and such like a viral content about this that they decided that they're going to remarket this completely as its own product. So sorry, I ramble and then I forget what the question was.
No, this is I'm just listening because this is just incredible insight. Because we do have to acknowledge how the marketing trends change. And what my question mainly was is, and I appreciate you answering basically, is like really identifying how the buyer's journey is from what it used to be, right? People go to social media, they are trusting these things, they are trusting influencers, and it's almost like a and very similar. I like that sales, almost that like infomercial, if you will, but it's not. But like I
Mhm.
know YouTube ads, it worked like that, very similar. It is literally using it, leveraging it, trying it, whatever. The only thing is YouTube ads. It's very hard to be profitable on a low ticket item. So that's why a lot of people use the influence the world, which is
Yeah.
awesome. So I know, Chanelle, just incredible insight. I appreciate you just being on here and just sharing from your experience, your journey to obviously the massive impact that you're making in the world and the business that you've been able to help at a very high level. How can they reach out to you if they want to retry or they want to try the influencer world again, man?
So they can go onto the website. It's sociallensmedia.com. I do have a contact sheet. We do provide a couple other services. There's social media management. There's also content creation, and of course the influencer marketing. You can find which ones you're looking for. There is a contact sheet, and then it will go directly to our team.
Awesome, awesome. And guys, those links will be in the description below. So make sure you click on that. Make sure you try that, because the biggest thing is what I'm always a big believer in today's world. You see the industry of 68 billion, right? In 5 years, that may be $500 billion industry. And the reality of from where the trajectory is going, if you look at the chart, it definitely can be, right? And so the biggest thing is you do not want to lose out on that opportunity. If you're an e-commerce, if you're high ticket, if you're coaching, consulting, service, whatever it may be, even if you're a dentist and you want to work with a very micro level in your location specific, hey, it is very, very viable. So reach out to Chanelle and her team, Social Lens Media. And Chanelle, before we let you go fully, is is there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience?
Don't knock it till you try it. And if you try it, make sure you do it right.
And there you go, guys. That is Chanelle Garrow. Guys, that is Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. Until next time, remember, be uncommon if you can.